Hello, gentlemen, and welcome to the Men Save Your Marriage show. My name is Terry. I'm your host. I did an autopsy on my failed marriage, and now I use the lessons that I learned to coach other men on how to save their marriage before it fails. I'm going to share with you the things I wish someone would have shared with me before my marriage failed. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hello, gentlemen, and welcome back. You heard the bell. That means that we are in the ring and we are fighting for your marriage. This, of course, is the Men Save Your Marriage show, and my name is Terry. I'm your host. Welcome back again. This is episode 65, and we are continuing today in our Watchtower Series. As we continue on today's episode, I think it feels as if the episodes in this series are getting deeper and deeper into some of the issues that I am seeing men face today. And today is no different. Today, in order to give this one a title, and you've probably read it if you started the show, The Other Guy Isn't the Problem. Again, this is no judgment, no fluff, just a straight shot of clarity into the middle of the chaos that you may be dealing with right now. And this is the Watchtower Series, where I kind of climb the tower, scan the horizon, and sound the alarm from the things that I am seeing and hearing from all of the men that I deal with, that I coach, that I counsel, that I hear from, and text message. These episodes are not soft. And they're not for the passive. These are warnings. These are wake-up calls. And if you're in crisis, consider this your call to arms. So let's get into this, shall we? If another man is in her life, it didn't start with him. It started with you going silent. And I don't know where you're at in your marriage, and I don't know what stage you're trying to save your marriage in. But in one way or another, that probably felt like a shot across the bow of your marriage that I just threw out there. And this is a difficult conversation, but it's one that's got to be had, because I see so many men get to this place where there is someone else kind of starting to circle around your marriage, and I see men make all the wrong decisions. So we're going to talk about one of the most painful things that a husband can face. That is another man. Another text thread. Another set of laughs or long stares, or he's just a friend type of conversations. And the truth is, whether it's physical or emotional, it feels like betrayal to you, because it is. And everything in you wants to react, to get angry, to blame, to control. But brother, I need to say something that might save your sanity here, and maybe even your marriage. The other guy here, well, he's not the problem. He's the symptom. So this episode is not about excusing her choices, and it's not about it's not about what she's done or what she hasn't done. It's really about exposing your choices. Because if another man is present in your marriage, it's a red flare. It's an emergency flare, a signal that your presence, your pursuit, and your leadership have faded. And now you have a choice. You can, of course, blame her, or you can become the man who can win her back. You can fight him if you want to, and that is the most common instinct that I see, or instead you can fight for yourself. So we're going to get into this, shall we? This is a heavy subject, but there are men, because I have heard from you, there are men in this audience and around the world who are dealing with this right now. And they know somebody else is circling their marriage. And we need to get into this so that you understand the correct and only way to handle this and still have a shot at saving your marriage. So point number one, when another man shows up, it means that you have been gone. Now, that's hard to hear, but we got to be brutally honest with ourselves. Because before he walked in, you checked out. You stopped pursuing her. You stopped asking the deeper questions. You stopped holding frame in her world and in yours and in your home. You stopped holding her heart and holding your ground as a man, as a husband. And because you stopped in that vacuum, someone stepped in. Now let me say this plainly. She didn't fall for him. She fell for what you used to be or what you never became. And I need to pause here because there may be some men who are listening to this episode and you're thinking, well, there's not another man in her world right now, so this doesn't apply to me. Well, let me stop. Hang on. You need to listen. You see, what I said just a moment ago, she didn't fall for him. She fell for what you used to be or what you never became. I can speak to this one specifically. In the intro to every show, I tell you that I did an autopsy on my failed marriage. And I want to teach you and tell you the things that I wish somebody had told me. Well, it wasn't another man in my world. Instead of another man, it was just distance. Instead of another man, it was separation. Instead of another man, it was a shutdown and no more of a reaction and a response to me because I stopped pursuing her. She didn't fail me, I failed her. So gentlemen, if you're listening to this and there's not another man, if she's not having these conversations, that still doesn't mean you're in the clear. My marriage failed because she fell for what I used to be and she believed in the man that I could have became, and I never stepped up and became that. That's why my marriage failed. It wasn't another man, but it was still the same cycle. So if you're listening to this and there's not another man, do not tune this out. Okay? You could still go through this same cycle. So let me say it plainly one more time. She didn't fall for him, or she didn't fall for the distance between you. She didn't fall for living as roommates. She didn't fall for living the rest of her life alone. She fell for what you used to be or what you never became. That's the hard truth. So even though there wasn't another man in my failed marriage, I still had to deal with all of this because I stopped stepping up. All right, so back to the original scenario, the other man. Maybe he's confident, maybe he listens, maybe he tells her she's beautiful. Maybe he validates her emotions and makes her laugh. But listen, you used to do all of that at one time. But over time, you got distracted, or you got lazy, or you got tired or angry, or you shut down because she did. Because she wasn't reacting and you weren't leading. But in your absence, she drifted. Now she's texting another man or confiding in a coworker or having what she considers harmless conversations, but they feel like daggers in your chest, don't they? And you think, or you are thinking, how could she do this? But the deeper question is this: how long has she felt alone? Now let me circle back to all of the other men who may be dealing with a failing marriage but not dealing with another man in the situation. Let me ask you, how long has she felt alone? I can speak to you again specifically for my failed marriage. And it is completely my fault because we were a young married couple and I threw myself into a career while she was trying to raise a house full of kids. And I was working 70, 80, 90 hours a week telling myself I was doing the right thing by providing for my family. And the truth of the matter was, on some level, maybe I was, but the truth is I had left her alone. So the deeper question is not, how could she do this to you? How could she be just a roommate? How could she stop being in love with you? Or how could she be having these harmless conversations with another man? No. The question is not, how could she do this? The question you need to ask yourself when you look yourself in the mirror is, how long has she felt alone? That's the real question. See, you don't lose a marriage to another man. You lose it when you stop being this guy. You lose it when you stop being the guy that asks these questions, that engages her in this way, that leads, that holds frame for her. You don't lose the marriage to another man. You lose the marriage when you stop being the man. This one is this next sentence. Wow. The other guy isn't the thief. He's the scavenger feeding on what you stopped fighting for. Oh, I need to stop there, because that line applies to every one of us that is in a struggling marriage. The other guy isn't the thief. Her time spent with TV shows or on Hallmark movies, or her time spent in distance from you, or her time spent with the girlfriends, her time spent with distractions, her time spent doing anything other than what used to be happening between you two is not the thief. Whatever her new distraction is, whether it's her favorite movie, whether it's distance between you, maybe it's the roommate phase, or maybe it is another guy, all of those distractions are just the scavenger feeding on what you stopped fighting for. All right, that's pretty heavy. But now let's get into some more nuts and bolts, if you will. Point 2, you cannot win this war by chasing the other guy. So let's talk about your temptation. And this is where I see this go off the rails in so many marriages, all across the board. So your temptation is you want to go through her phone. You want to confront him. You want to track her or beg her or rage or collapse or obsess. And you're allowing yourself to just be completely unhinged. And you need to hear me, brothers. That is not strength. That is panic. You don't win her heart back by becoming erratic or desperate or weak. You don't rebuild your marriage by chasing shadows and demanding confessions. You rebuild by becoming so present, so grounded, so undeniably strong that the contrast between you and him is blinding. So, here's what men do wrong when another man is involved. This is a 3-step process to help you understand it. And if you are in this battle right now, you can go to the show notes for this episode and you can read all 3 of these steps and you can internalize this. You can copy it, write it down, put it in your journal. You do whatever you got to do. Okay? Here's what men do wrong when another man is involved. Number 1, they try to control her. You go into lockdown mode, into interrogation, tracking her with ultimatums and where she's been and why she's 2 minutes late and this and that and the other, right? All you're doing, all that does is pushes her further into secrecy or defense. Controlling her is not the solution. The second thing they do is they collapse into shame. You collapse into shame. It's all my fault. She deserves better. I'm just a loser. I can't be the man she wants me to be. That's the kind of things you've said to yourself or you are saying to yourself. Well, that self-pity does not inspire love. It repels it. You are literally repelling her from you when you collapse into shame. And third, you make it about him. You make it about the other guy, as if removing him fixes the problem. I got a news flash for you. Even if he disappears, the emotional vacuum is still there. And it doesn't matter if the distance between you and your wife is another man, or is another man is in that distance. It doesn't matter if it's the roommate phase, if she's found something else to distract her. It doesn't matter what it is. This applies to all of us. Okay? it doesn't matter whatever the distraction for her is. If it's removed, the vacuum between you and her still exists. You have to understand that. You can't control what she's doing, but you can control who you are becoming. That is the only leverage you have, not by force, not by words, but by presence. Don't chase him. Don't grovel to her. Stand tall and lead. Now, again, I need to circle back here because I don't care what situation or how grave the circumstances are in your marriage right now that you are fighting to save. You need to understand, regardless, whether it's another man, whether it's just distance, whether we're just roommates, whether she's moved out and I'm trying to get her back in, whether we're separated, whether we've already filed for divorce, whether the divorce is in process, none of that matters. You can't control what she's doing. The only thing you can control is who you are becoming. I cannot stress that enough. That's what you can control. That's what you need to understand. And that's how you move forward, gentlemen, is by understanding that regardless of what happens, I know you're going to try to fix the marriage, and I know you're going to start holding frame, and you're going to step back into the marriage, and you're going to make your presence known, and she's going to have some hard choices to deal with because now she's got to figure out, is it someone new? Is it a distance? Is all of that stuff? Or, well, he's different now. Am I ready to trust him again? So she's got some hard decisions to make if you do step up. But you have to understand, you can't control her decisions. You can't control how this ends. All you can control is who you are becoming. That is the most valuable piece of information I can give you today. So I want you to focus on becoming the man you always knew you could have been. All right, point number 3, and I'll get off my soapbox. The only way back is through presence and power. If you want to win her back, hear this clearly. You cannot convince her. You cannot logic her. You cannot guilt her. You must transform yourself into a man worth following again. Now, here's what that looks like. And again, you can find this in the show notes with every episode. Here it is. Hold your center. You don't yell. You don't threaten. You don't lose control. You sit in truth. You acknowledge the damage and you declare who you are becoming. And it sounds something like this. I'm not here to control you. I'm here to lead myself. And if you choose to stay, I will lead this marriage. That, gentlemen, is power. So you hold your center. Number 2, you rebuild your pursuit. Yes, even now, even with another man in the picture, you pursue her. Why? Because she's not just watching what you say, she's watching how you show up. Do you still pursue her emotionally? Do you still carry yourself with masculine energy? Do you still touch her and hold her, see her, not just react to her? This isn't manipulation, it's invitation. You're inviting her back into the marriage. You're not groveling, you are leading. So you hold your center, you rebuild your pursuit, and then finally, you outlast the illusion. Now, this is a hard truth. The guy she's talking to, he's a fantasy. He's a moment. He's a wisp of air. He's a mirror reflecting what she thinks she wants. That's what he really is. But he hasn't paid bills with her. He hasn't seen her sick, or he hasn't stood in the fire as a couple like the two of you have. He's not real, gentlemen. And if you hold your frame, not in anger, not in revenge, but in consistent masculine strength, she may wake up from the illusion and remember who you are. If you've become that man again. And that is that's the way back through presence and power. Hold your center, rebuild your pursuit, and outlast the illusion. Now, I got to offer this final warning before we get into the wrap up here. She may still choose him, and she may still walk away. But don't let your downfall be that you never showed up in full strength. Whether or not she comes back, this is your battle to fight, not just for her, but for the man you were called to be. Remember what I said. That's all you can control, the man you are becoming. All right, here's your orders of engagement. If this message lit a fire, if this message hit home in your marriage and in your life, don't let it die here. I want you to do a few things for me. 1, subscribe to the podcast. 2, give us a 5-star rating and write a short review. Your rating might be the thing that puts this truth into the hands of another man who is spiraling right now. You have the power to control this. This is how we fight, not just for our own marriages, but for every man in the battle. And if you subscribe and if you rate and if you review, you already know the algorithm sees that and it puts this episode and this show in front of other men who are spiraling. You can directly help and impact another marriage and another man. All right, so here's my final words for today, gentlemen. The other guy might have her attention. That doesn't mean he has her heart. And if he does, you don't win it back by being less than who you were called to be. So rise. Not to chase him. Don't rise to chase him. Rise to become the kind of man he could never be. Rise to become a husband, a father, a leader, a king. Stop blaming, stop spiraling, and start leading. Because you are the standard. You are the standard in her life, not him. Finally, your marching orders. You've been warned, you've been equipped. Now it's time to move. Do not wait for permission. Lead her. Pursue her. Protect what is yours. The man your marriage needs is already in you. It's time to wake him up. Now, if you want direct, no fluff coaching to turn things around, you can text me right now at 812-648-3380. I'll get you the details and we'll set the pace. This is the Men Save Your Marriage show. Share this with a brother who's in the fight. And remember, when she looks at you, she's not hoping for a roommate. She's looking for a man with fire in his chest and a plan in his hand. So don't go silent. Don't go soft. Don't disappear. Set your sights, stiffen your back, and lead with presence. Gentlemen, that's all for today. I want to thank you, and I know these episodes in the Watchtower series are not easy to hear. I can tell you they're not even easy to write, and they're not even easy to record, because I realize that I'm speaking some hard truths into the lives of a lot of men. But all I can do is be the watchman and tell you what I see. Thanks for being here today, gentlemen, and I look forward to see you in the next episode. In the meantime, remember, you can only control who you are becoming. So become the man you always could have been and always longed to be. Step up, step out. Make it a great day, gentlemen. I'll see you in the next episode.